making guitars. Inside of these two rectangles, the top and the back, is the rim. And I'm going to show you how to trim this off. Carefully trim, but that's a little risky because when the blade is cutting through the top layer, it tends to tear out on the bottom. You could have trimmed it first so that it's real close, but this way is very reliable and very easy. I'm going to show you how to make the router table. I mounted a router into my bench. So I've been doing this for many years, and my old jig has worn out, so I'm going to make a new router underneath the table. And there's many ways to do that. And it's bolted down nice and solid. That's one thing you definitely want to do, is make sure that it's bolted down. I've seen where there's just some pins to set the level. That is 1/4 of an inch with a bearing on the top. I'm going to use this very thin, it's less than 1/4 of an inch, flat. I think it's just painted white with some kind of very hard white paint, and it's basically just this hardboard material. The reason I like to use this thin material is because the router bit needs to protrude enough, and if this is thicker, then there won't be enough height. To start, we're going to make what I call the dome, and we're going to use this. Okay, and here it is inside. It's stuck inside, and I just push it out with a little pointed tool. Riser. This is about 1/2 inch, a little bit more than 1/2 inch, and the important thing is that it has to be slightly more than the arch height. So I'm going to make it a little smoother, and I have these little carbide sandpapers. I've been using these for probably 20 years. Okay, now a little word about enlarging a hole. That's one of the elusive things in woodworking. How do you make this hole bigger? Here's a couple of ways. One of them is to use one of these. The 1/4 inch that we initially drilled will fit into here, and you just keep going through the steps until you get to the largest, and that's 1/2 inch. In our case, we need almost an inch, so that's not quite right, but they do make these step drills up to bigger than an inch. I have this bit right here, which is a spot facer, and this fits in here and is this smooth pilot guides it, and this will enlarge it up to this is 3/4 of an inch. Let's see. Another way to do it would be to use one of these, again, a hole saw in the hole, put the drill bit in the hole and enlarge the hole. That would work, but this one is made for glass. It's not quite right. So I'm gonna use my spot facer to glue the donut down in place. I'm going to put a clamp on it. Okay, and then I'm going to put in these little inserts right there. and you could see that as I moved around, it was a little bit sticky. You know, the bit's doing a lot of work cutting through that laminated plate, and the plate has several layers and very hard drying glue. So it's kind of like cutting through plywood. There is a lift up right there on that part, and I'll fix that. A couple of refinements are that I put some boards underneath. For technique, I want to make sure that I am level and that I don't tip the body this way or this way. And keep in mind that my knuckles are always on the platform out here. That's why you can't. You can see. I'm going to fix that right One refinement that I'll make is that up here I'm going to put some button caps, screws. Ask me why not just put the donut here, and then you know you don't have to go to the trouble of putting that platform on each time. And the reason is because if you put the donut right there, your knuckles are off the edge. So this is Ken from Up North Strings. I thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like. This jig can be used for any body, even if it's flat.